about a little bit about relationships, not the full left to right, up and down. Yeah, apparently we still have a lot of fuckboys in 2020 wandering around, wasting other people's time. So that's why I'm making this video. I'm gonna be speaking from a woman's perspective. I'm obviously a woman. I don't want to be biased or anything, but this video is directed for men and women, so it's fine. Just ignore the he's and the hises. So I was actually debating making this video because I've never been the type to post about all about my life experiences. So to me it seems a bit impulsive. I've always been the type to sit and ponder on things, but my roommate was telling me that I should talk about it and get it out, so that's what I'm doing. And I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a relationship coach, I'm not your mama, you know. I have zero interest in any of those things. I definitely wanted to get it out though, you know, especially now because I certainly didn't want to have to go back to relive all of that hurt and painful memory from, you know, what happened to me after I've already began to heal, you know. So just to fill you guys in on a little bit about what's been going on with me recently, I reconnected with a guy from my childhood, and you know, I obviously trusted him and we failed miserably. But the irony in it is because he was all about self-development, and you know, his primary focus was relationships. It was just odd to me, you know, for you to have that mission to want to help people and connect with people on a deeper level. It just didn't make sense for me. If I see that you're at least trying, I'm never gonna give up on you. I definitely think people should date out of their comfort zone because you can learn your likes from your dislikes. But before you do that, it's important for you to know this. I brought my whiteboard with me today. Before you do that, you have to master self-love. This is so important. If you have not mastered self-love and you enter into a newborn baby relationship, is bound to fail. So that's super important. I can't stress that enough. Self-love. Moving on, I once heard Tai Lopez say that relationships consist of business and pleasure. I love Tai Lopez. So actually I'm gonna write that down. So relationships consist of business and pleasure. Oh no, where's my marker? Okay, so business and pleasure, because I know most of you guys are visual learners, and so am I, unfortunately. Okay, so business and pleasure. So essentially what you want to look for in that is compatibility and chemistry, right? You have to have a goal when you're entering into a brand new baby relationship. And I'm gonna write that down too. Today is the first day that I smiled in a long time. So when you go on that first date, you and that person want to, number one, focus on what goals you have in common, right? Get him to talk about his goals. People love talking about themselves anyway. If he's not itching to share with you or to inform you what his goals are, or if he's, offended by your inquiry on his goals, he probably doesn't have any anyway. Let him go. Get rid of him. Next. No kidding. But yeah, that's super important. Because if the chemistry were to, fade away at some point, you need those goals that you have aligned with each other to sharpen one another and to stay on track, to bring it back, to bring that spark of chemistry back into your relationship. And that's why you need to focus on your goals on that first date. So I'm gonna write that down, compatibility and chemistry, because we're gonna dig a little deeper into that as well. To dig a little deeper on compatibility, try to establish what his vision is, what his morals are, what his beliefs are, what his past experiences are. Because that makes up for character, that builds the character of who he is today, right? And then once you get those characteristics, you want to watch and observe him. See if his actions match up with his character, because nothing is ever what it seems. Chemistry. So I wrote that down for you. Compatibility and chemistry. So that brings me to my next point. Pleasure. You definitely want to make sure that his character is on point, because that brings me to pleasure. Now, I, for one, love to please my man. I take pride in pleasing my man, okay? I'm a very sexual person, and, if you're a sexual person and your partner isn't, you already don't have chemistry. So you don't have compatibility, you don't have chemistry. Who is this guy? Who is this person? Get rid of him. I'm kidding, no. So pleasure. Let's just pretend for just a moment that we take those critical factors out of the equation. Okay, so for example, sex, obviously, cooking, cleaning, massages, leaving little notes around the house and all that goo goo gaga stuff. Let's say that we take that out of the equation. You still should want to be with a person because of his or her character. If he's in it for the long term, that's gonna be the last thing on his head. He's gonna be observing you. He's gonna be wanting to get to know who you are as a woman. And again, I'm speaking from a woman's perspective because I am a woman. I'm not trying to be biased here. But yeah, that's where self-love comes into play, because there's obviously more than one way to get to the heart without involving sex, right? You have to be able to set those emotional boundaries for yourself. It's okay to say, I don't feel comfortable sharing that with you. You don't want to open up completely on the first date. It's okay to be transparent. You obviously want them to know that, you're not, playing around, but you still have to set those emotional boundaries for yourself. For example, you don't want to share like your deepest and darkest secrets with this person. What if he decides he doesn't like you? Then now you're in a vulnerable position. You felt like you could trust him and he uses it against you. So yeah, set those emotional boundaries. Super important. That's why time is really your best friend. You don't want to be so enamored in the possibilities of what you guys could be together or your life with this person. Because once you start thinking that life around you is like a romance novel, you become blind, you let your guard down. The cold truth is love makes you dumb. It really does. It makes you dumb. That's why time is your best friend. Use that to your advantage. Use that as a tool to utilize long-term relationships. Super important stuff. So I just wanted to share that